is DWBR of the Philippine Broadcasting Service. 104.3 on FM. Music and talk. Nice and easy. The time is 12 o'clock. Good afternoon. Here is the 12 o'clock edition of the Network News. Storm Odette intensified further early today and continues to move west slowly. Pagasa said the weather disturbance was estimated at 790 kilometers east of Tuguegarao City in Cagayan. Storm Odette now packed maximum center winds of 85 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 100 kilometers per hour. Storm Odette is forecast to move west at 9 kilometers per hour, even as the southwest monsoon is affecting central and southern Luzon, the Visayas, and Mindanao. Meanwhile, Pagasa said Zambales, Bataan, Cavite, Batangas, and Mindoro may experience cloudy skies with moderate to occasionally heavy rains and thunderstorms that may trigger flash floods and landslides. Metropolitan Manila, the rest of Central Luzon, and of Calabarzon, the Visayas, and Mindanao may expect cloudy skies with light to moderate rain showers and thunderstorms. The rest of Luzon will be partly cloudy to cloudy with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms. A Malacanang official is urging more companies to sign the Integrity Pledge, a commitment to ethical business practices and good governance. Budget and Management Secretary Florencio Abad aired the call a day before the Integrity Summit to be held at the Makati Shangri-La Hotel. Marie-Louise reports.
As of now, there are 1,700 Integrity Pledge signatories. Abad hopes that this number will be expanded to at least 2,000. The budget chief laments that only 47 of the Bureau of Internal Revenue's list of top 200 corporate taxpayers have signed the Integrity Pledge. The third Integrity Summit features the significant progress made by the private sector that will spearhead the drive in building the Philippines as a nation with integrity. Marie Peña Ruiz for PBS News.
Representatives of the Philippine National Police, or PNP, and the Department of Justice are meeting in order to tackle what charges are to be filed against the Moro National Liberation Front, or MNLF, members in Zamboanga City. The PNP estimated about 150 MNLF members may be charged for the crisis in Zamboanga, which is on its 10th day today. PNP Criminal Investigation and Detection Group, or CIDG head Francisco Uyami, said they continue to gather evidence for possible charges against the MNLF members. Meanwhile, 20 MNLF members who surrendered last night are still undergoing interrogation as of this morning. The Armed Forces of the Philippines said at least 72 MNLF members had been killed as of Tuesday. The Armed Forces of the Philippines said at least 8 soldiers were killed in action and 100 were wounded, while 3 policemen were killed and 12 wounded. The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, says it does not need the assistance of the United States to resolve the Zamboanga City crisis. The AFP remains firm with its stand that it is in control of the situation in Mindanao. Alvin Baltazar reports.
The statement was made by the AFP leadership after an unmanned aerial vehicle of the U.S. was spotted in the area. AFP spokesman Brigadier General Domingo Tutan stressed that the Philippine military asked no any kind of assistance from the United States in connection with the still ongoing crisis in Zamboanga City. Tutan said that the AFP has enough number of soldiers to contain the enemy's troops and ensure the safety of the remaining hostages. Alvin Baltasar for PBS News.
Government forces have captured a heavily fought area with the Moro National Liberation Front, or MNLF, strongpoint in Zamboanga City. The area was where the MNLF gunmen fought off armored vehicles and exchanged hails of gunfire with soldiers. Armed Forces of the Philippines units took control of the KGK building along Lustre Street, which was believed to be the position from which MNLF leader Ustaz Malik fought government forces. The bullet-riddled building was empty, with not even bodies of slain or wounded MNLF fighters found. However, discarded MNLF uniforms were found, leading to the belief that the gunmen may have blended in with the freed hostages. Some 100 rebels and 40 hostages were said to have been taken or who have taken refuge in the KGK building. Affected families due to the continuing conflict in Zamboanga City continue to rise. Again, Alvin Baltazar reports.
Based on the records of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, displaced families now are at 16,533. This represents more than 82,000 individuals. Number of families who are presently staying at about 30 evacuation centers now are at 13,679. Alvin Baltasar for PBS News.
Moro National Liberation Front, or MNLF Commander Javier Malik, remains in Zamboanga City and is moving from house to house. Military Information Chief Ramon Zagala said they believe that Malik is still in Zamboanga City and that now they are currently moving from house to house. But Zagala refused to disclose the exact location of Malik, even as he assured the public that the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, is fully committed to finding the elusive MNLF leader. At present, the AFP is conducting clearing operations in Zamboanga City while they are tracking Malik. Still, Zagala maintained that even though they are now undertaking clearing operations, this does not mean that there is no more threat from the MNLF. PNP, or Philippine National Police personnel in Metropolitan Manila, are on alert amid the continuing standoff in Zamboanga City and with the twin bomb attacks in Davao City. More from Alvin Baltazar.
According to NCRPO spokesperson Chief Inspector Robert Domingo, Metro Manila Police Director Chief Superintendent Marcelo Garbo has given his order to all his 5 district directors and to all chiefs of police in the entire metropolis to intensify their police visibility operations. Domingo said that Garbo wanted to make sure that tight security measures are being applied to all vital installations as well as areas of convergence such as MRT, LRT, bus terminals, and other places dubbed as soft targets. Domingo, however, did not clarify if there is a threat in Metro Manila which possibly may be connected to the Zamboanga City tension, prompting them to strengthen their police visibility and place the entire Metro Manila police force under heightened alert status. Alvin Baltasar for PBS News.
Government forces have retaken as much as 80% of Zamboanga City from the Moro National Liberation Front, or MNLF. Philippine National Police, or PNP Deputy Director for Operations Felipe Rojas said they are monitoring one area for MNLF presence. In the past few days, several hostages had been either freed or managed to escape, while the government implemented a calibrated response to the MNLF. Rojas said they are just focusing on one area where shots were heard, though not as frequently in past days. At the same time, Rojas said they are clearing some areas of improvised explosive device. Senator Francis Escudero says the widely acknowledged brains behind the pork barrel scam, Janet Napoles, should be summoned to the next hearing of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. Jojo Ismail reports.
These developed after the Blue Ribbon Committee, chaired by Senator Teofesto Gingono III, announced that it will resume its hearing on September 24 on the alleged irregularities committed in relation to the Priority Development Assistance Funds, or PDAF. Gingono said that principal whistleblower Binhor Loy with other whistleblowers had been invited to the hearing. But Escudero insisted that Napoles should also be summoned, although he admitted that it's the courts which can ultimately decide if Napoles can appear before the Senate panel. Escudero also wants the manager of the Magdalena branch of Metrobank to face the committee and provide information about the alleged one-time withdrawal by Napoles of 75 million pesos. A withdrawal this huge is a cause for red flag from the bank to the AMLAC. The withdrawal may have been reported to the AMLAC as an automatic procedure, but what we'd like to know is if this withdrawal was reported by the bank under the Know Your Client rule of the Bangko ng Sentral ng Pilipinas, Escudero said. For PBS News, George Ismael, Senate.
The Department of Budget and Management has disclosed that the Congress has asked for a special fund of 1 billion pesos for school buildings. It asked to set aside 1 billion pesos for areas that need classrooms other than what regular schools provide. Budget and Management Secretary Florencio Abad said that the 1 billion peso fund's objective is to equalize the distribution of classrooms. Abad also mentioned that the 1 billion peso school building program is mandated by law. The tourism industry braced itself for a double-digit growth of European tourists after the Philippine flag carrier once again flies to London starting November 4. Melanie Valdos reports.
Philippine Airlines President and Chief Operating Officer Ramon Ang said PAL will operate direct and non-stop flights, providing the fastest travel to London, as well as convenient connection from the UK capital to top Philippine tourist spots in other destinations in Southeast Asia, Japan, South Korea, and Australia. He added British business travelers can also make Manila a getaway to PAL extensive international network. Ang stressed with the new direct air links, the country is looking at a potential windfall in tourism, trade, and investment from Europe. Meanwhile, the flag carrier also is proud to serve more than 664,000 Filipinos in Europe with the most convenient travel to return home. Melanie Valdos reporting for PBS News.
Meanwhile, here is a public service announcement. The Rotary Club of Pasay Southeast and the Firearms Explosive Office Gun Club will hold a shoot fest for a cause on September 21, 2013 at 8 a.m. The shoot fest will be held at the Philippine Marines Training Center, Marine Barracks, Rudyardo Brown Naval Station, Fort Bonifacio. A 9mm pistol will be the grand prize in the raffle. The organizing committee is headed by Rear Admiral Ramon Espera Jr. and Marilu Salazar, President of Rotary Club of Pasay Southeast. The proceeds will support the club's service projects. In news abroad, Mexico's famous beach resort of Acapulco was in chaos as hotels rationed food for thousands of stranded tourists and floodwaters swallowed homes and cars. Acapulco suffered a damaging storm in decades that killed at least 55 people across Mexico. Television footage showed Acapulco's international airport terminal waist-deep in water and workers wading out to escape floods. Heavy flooding prevented some 40,000 visitors from leaving and blocked one of the main access routes to the city with mud. A torrential three-day downpour cut off several roads into the Pacific Resort, People, which was a magnet for Hollywood stars in its heyday, but had the highest murder rate in Mexico last year amid a surge in drug gang violence. The flooding disrupted deliveries of supplies, piling fresh misery on a city heavily dependent on tourist spending. President Barack Obama says the mass shooting at a Washington military base shows the United States needs a better way to check whether gun buyers have mental health problems or not. Obama made the comments as more details emerged about Aaron Alexis, who is suspected of killing 12 people in a shooting rampage at the Washington Navy Yard before the police killed him in a gun battle. Obama said initial reports indicate that this is an individual who may have had some mental health problems. He said the fact that the United States does not have a firm enough background check system is something that makes the country more vulnerable to mass shootings. The Rhode Island police had warned the Navy last month that Alexis had complained about hearing voices. And with that, we conclude the 12 o'clock edition of the Network News. This is Vibar reporting.
This is Business Radio.